Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here today. Welcome on this presentation. How can Pentest as a service shape the future of cyber penetration testing? Uh, the agenda for this presentation is as the following. We're going to have an introduction to penetration testing, the main goal of penetration testing, and then we're going to talk about what is Pentest as a service, some of the key benefits of Pentest as a service, the different type of pentesters, and then we're going to talk lastly about Cyscope and the two services that it offers. Before we start, a little bit about myself. Who am I? My name is Nidal. I'm a senior cybersecurity consultant, as well as the Pentest as a service team lead at Cyscope. I have over 4 years of experience in offensive security in general, so doing all sort of red teaming, penetration testing. I also have cyber threat intelligence in the past. Okay, so before we talk about what is Pentest as a service, we need to know what is penetration testing in the first place. Now, penetration testing is basically the process of identifying security vulnerabilities in a particular infrastructure. This can be a network, this can be a system or a application, this can be a mobile application, it can be a desktop application, a web application, it can be something like API or even something like SCADA systems. Uh, the main goal of penetration testing is to find these security vulnerabilities and remediate them before the actual attackers find and exploit them. That is the whole idea of doing penetration testing on your assets, is to see if there's any security flaws, there's any misconfigurations or vulnerabilities that can be exploited by malicious users and remediate them, of course. Uh, so what is Pentest as a service? Pentest as a service is basically a platform on the cloud which allow you to have continuous and point in time penetration tests. So you get access to this dashboard on the cloud where you can easily manage all of your penetration test projects, all of your assets. And it help you to identify the security vulnerabilities in your systems, and you know prioritize them and remediate them and retest them. Uh, some of the key benefits of Pentest as a service is the initiation time. Pentest as a service is really fast to set up. You can deploy a penetration test in a matter of 24 hours. It depends on your scope and some other factors, of course. Uh, you get continuous security going on when you have a Pentest as a service project. You get ongoing tests and assessments. Um, it can go for every day or every week. It depends on your budget, of course. One of the great things that I personally like about Pentest as a service is the retest with one click. And in a platform like Cyscope, for example, or any Pentest as a service platform, you get to retest a finding with literally one click. Uh, as soon as the finding was remediated, you just go ahead on the platform and mark it as ready for retest. And then the security researchers will do the rest of the job and see if the finding was actually remediated or not, or if there's any other ways to bypass the remediation. In Pentest as a service, you get expert access, constant communication or direct communication with the security researchers that are working on your Pentest as a service project. So your team of developers and the security researchers from the platform get to have a direct communication together, either via Slack channel or a Telegram channel. So this improve the overall process of working on a project, um, and make things are going better. Um, Pentest as a service can be really cost effective, because you can do something like feature based testing only, or maybe, and since it's a credit based system, you can ask to hire two security researchers. You can ask for only one security researchers. Um, you get to decide the time, etc., etc. So it's based on your needs. And Pentest as a service is, as I said, it's a quick launch and turnaround. So you get fast results. You get, after the projects have started, you get result in less than 24 hours. More control. You have overall more control over the Pentest project. So you can pause the project when you want. You can resume it after a couple of days. You can change the scope along the way. So you have overall more control on the Pentest process. Pentest as a service also meets the compliance like NIST, PCI, OWASP Top 10. Actually, every platform of Pentest as a service should have a checklist to for the security researchers to check every time they are doing a penetration testing project, just to make sure that nothing left behind. And these checklists are based on there's community standards like OS Top 10. Another great thing about Pentest as a service is the real-time vulnerability reporting. So as soon as a vulnerability was identified, immediately you as a client get a notification uh, about the found vulnerability, so you can immediately start taking actions and remediating the vulnerability. So that's another thing about Pentest as a service, is you really get a instant notification about the found vulnerability. Pentest as a service platform are integrated with tools. You can find tools, security tools integrated via the platform, which helps the security researchers working on your assets to find the low-hanging fruits and save them a bunch of time. So some of the pen test types that can be done with pen test as a service is, network penetration testing, and by network I mean internal Active Directory assessments. You can have web application pen testing, mobile application API, and even cloud, security testing. And uh, each of this category, there is like the best security researchers who are going to be assigned to these projects based on the type. So if you have a network penetration test assessment, we have like the best security researchers who can do this. And if there's a web application pen testing project, we have the best security researchers evaluated from an internal dashboard to see who's better at what. Some of the use cases for Pentest as a service, for example, you can integrate it with your DevSecOps. If there's like a new specific feature and you just want to test that feature, that's a use case, for example, because it can be a feature-based testing only. You get a continuous protection, for example. You can ask for testing for specific 0 days or CVEs, patches. It meets the compliance, and as I said, and also you can uh, do some third-party evaluation. So if you're working with a third-party company and you want to see if that affects you and somehow, that's also a use case in here. So what is Cyscope? Cyscope is a powered by security researchers from all over the world. It's an international community of security researchers who are ready to protect your assets literally 24 hours. There always somebody ready inside of Cyscope to start a pentest project and work on your assets and find vulnerabilities. This is a diagram that shows Cyscope so far and the projects and different type of pen tests and the amount of vulnerabilities found. We can see here there's a lot of vulnerabilities found on this side. There's a lot of critical vulnerabilities found on the IoT, on the cloud side, for example, networks and web applications. So Cyscope basically offers two essential services. One of them is the Pentest as a service, which I just mentioned. It includes all the features and the benefits that I've just talked about. So if you're looking to start a Pentest as a service for, or thinking about that, Cyscope is definitely the go for that. Cyscope also has a different service which called bug bounty service. This is basically a service where you as a client or a company, you get to pay the security researchers who are working on your assets only if they found a valid vulnerability. So if there's a valid vulnerability, that's where you pay them. Unlike the Pentest as a service, which is a credit-based system, uh, which is a different story. But bug bounty is a bounty-based system. So if the security researchers find a valid vulnerability, you as a client get to pay them. It depends on the criticality of the vulnerability, of course. So here's Cyscope in action, basically. You got the first step, which is creating the program and defining the scope and all the stuff. Of course, this is also for bug bounty system because there's like rewards, triaging, and retest support. Then you got the launch. You got the program validation and inviting the security researchers. In this tip, you can see actually result of vulnerabilities in less than 24 hours when it's launched. And then you got the execution part. This is like the details and the reporting stuff. If it's a bug bounty program, you get the review and reward section. Here is where the triaging process happens and see if the certain vulnerability is valid for reward or not. Then you get the retest. After the vulnerability have been found and reported on the platform, and after it was fixed by your side, you have the retest process. So that's basically Cyscope in action. That's the end of this presentation. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you. Stay tuned for another video where we're going to be showing you Cyscope more in action. Thank you very much.